Hello everyone, I hope so you will be fine. My name is Dr. Abid and I welcome to all of you in GC's course. Today I have a very special topic from the GS paper 3rd, Environmental Ecology, Environmental Impact Assessment. You know that in the field of UPSC, this is one of the most important topic and frequently coming in our mains examination. On the behalf of environmental impact assessment, now we will try to discuss approaches toward the mains and we will find out the best concept, hidden concept of the questions. Definitely, if we want to understand the question seriously and if we want to solve the question seriously, so first of all, we have to solve the number of answers, questions. Getting my points? So first and most important question is that how to understand the question carefully. So today we will discuss number of important parameters regarding the environmental impact assessment and why this is so important for our mains examinations. So this is the question from 2014 and you know that first of all we will try to decode the question carefully, then we will move forward toward the next one. So first of all I'm going to read the question. Now we will understand. Environmental impact assessment studies are increasingly undertaken before a project is cleared by the government. Discuss the environmental impact of coal-fired thermal located at coal pit heads. Getting my points? Now, clearly we can mention that this question has two parts. The first, environmental impact assessment studies are increasingly undertaken before a project is cleared by the government. You know that in 2024, a question directly come from environmental impact assessment and NGOs and the local activists. Getting my points? In 2014, so the same question are coming. So basically we have to understand what is the importance of the environmental impact assessment. So on the behalf of the environmental impact assessment, a question is coming from the coal-fired thermal plants located at coal pit heads. Getting my points? Now let's decode the question. This is the question. First of all, the question is starting from discuss means explain, analyze. Number of times we have discussed that first of all we have to identify the directive words. So what are the major directive words inside the question? Getting the points? And so many times I have discussed in previous classes and now you can watch over there. We will try to move. This is the first part of the question. Basically I have already discussed that two main parts of the question are here. So what we have to do right now, so role of environmental impact assessment. So first of all we have to assess and identify and we have to briefly explain why EIA is done. Role in evaluating and reducing harmful effects before project approval. So this is the second one important part. And the second one is that environmental impact of the coal-fired thermal plants at the pit heads. So first of all, what we have to do right now, focus on pollutions, number one. Second is ecosystem disruption. Third one is water uses, and the last one is land degradation. So whenever we talk about the coal-fired thermal power plants, so basically we have to describe these all important issues regarding. These are the plants located close to the coal mines to reduce the transport cost. Getting my points? So second part, just we have to mention the impacts of coal-fired thermal power plants at pit heads. You know that pit heads are the near building and other important areas, which is very close to the coal minings. So right now we have to do, we have to accept these all important areas and we have to write about these all important things. Getting my points? Now let's move toward the answer writing. Today I will show you the model answer. But before starting the answer discussions, I will tell you some important things regarding the answer writing. First of all, you know that this is our answer sheet, and you know that we have to use the space carefully. Number one point is that we have to use the space carefully. You know that we have to write our answer in well manner, means we have to use this whole passage, whole space in through beautiful passages. Getting my points? You know that our question, our answer should be in three parts. The first part is intro. ठीक है, and second part should be man body, and the third part should be a conclusion. Getting my points? So we have to follow the standard pattern, and we have to follow the some important things. You know that whenever we talk about the answer writing, you have to know that you should use the best content. What is the content? Getting the points? And on the other hand, you should follow the structure. You have to use the structure, and you have to use the presentation, the way of presentation of the answer, means what kind of presentation you are going to adopt. So you have to follow the presentation. And next one, now what you do, that you have to follow the argumentative, या कह सकते हैं logical arguments. You have to use the important languages, या important part of the languages, या important words over there. Don't use the unnecessary knowledge. Don't use unnecessary words. Don't use axioms. Don't use rubbish things. Don't use the extreme views. You have to use a simplistic word, and you have to simplify the answer. The last one, the conclusion, you have to write the precise and concise conclusion having suggestion and advices. Is getting my points? On the behalf of these all important areas, now let's move toward the answer. This is our introduction. You know that we have to start our answer from the introduction side. So rightly we can say that we have a 4 lines type introductions. So first of all, I started my intro from the environmental impact assessment is a crucial tool for sustainable development. This is my first line. It helps identify the likely environmental consequences. The second line, I'm talking about the environmental consequences of a proposed project before it begins. With increasing industrialization, EIA is especially important for coal-fired thermal power plant, particularly those set up near coal pit heads, which while reducing coal transport cost have significant environmental importance. You know that I mentioned in third and fourth line that industrialization, okay, and the coal-fired thermal power plants, particularly those set up near coal pit heads. And again, I mentioned that while reducing coal transport cost have significant environmental impacts. So basically, I use number of important things in introduction. The first is that factual accuracy, and the second one is concept clarity I used, and the third one is that I mentioned the relevant important areas of the questions. मैं भागा नहीं हूँ, ठीक है, जो क्वेश्चंस का डेप्थ है, जो क्वेश्चंस की अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, उसके हिसाब से मैंने अपना पूरा इंट्रो तैयार किया है. And I use the maximum important words in my introduction. I never use, ठीक है, and basically आपको भी यही करना है. You don't have to use unnecessary words. कोई रिपीट नहीं होना चाहिए वर्ड्स वगैरह, इसका भी आपको ख्याल रखना है. Now let's move toward the man body. So first of all, we have to discuss role of EIA, environmental impact assessment. So first of all, okay, whenever you talk about the role, so you have to mention these all important areas that evaluate, suggest, help, and legally required. Getting my points? Evaluate air, water, soil, and biodiversity impact. Suggest mitigation plans, alternative locations or technologies, help in public consultation, informed decision makings, and last one you will find out there that legally required under Environmental Protection Act 1986. So basically I mentioned just only 4 lines, and all 4 lines have a different words, okay, and different meanings. So each and every word have a different meaning and impact. So you have to describe this, the role of EIA, and you then I think so don't forget about or the mention of 1986 Act, Umbrella Act, वो जो मैंने last में mention किया है. Now just we have to start our answers. Environmental impact of coal fired. ठीक है, so basically whenever we talk about the environmental impact, so always remember air pollution is one of them. Okay, so you have to mention that emission of SO2, NO, PM 2.5 and CO2 from the burning coals. These all are the important gases are coming from the thermal power plants. अब यहाँ पर क्या है कि its impact are respiratory and the cardiovascular diseases. These all are its impact. So I mentioned from air pollution. The second one is that water stress and pollution. So basically I mentioned that large water withdrawal for cooling, thermal pollution for nearby rivers, ash pond leakage, ठीक है, and contaminating groundwater. These all important things are coming from the water stress and pollution. ये सब मैंने mention किया. Now in the third one you will notice over there fly ash generation. So this is the another most important thing which is very ठीक है harmful for soil and water. ठीक है, next one. Land degradation. Land near pitheads often already degraded by mining and power plants infrastructure further stress land and vegetations. Now you will notice over there in the slides in the name of environmental impact, I just mentioned the important areas, important parts of the ठीक है impacts: air, water, fly ash and land degradation. These all are the important things related to the impact, environmental impact. Getting my points? And in the last one, I mentioned the loss of biodiversity, greenhouse gas emission, and cumulative impact. So you have to mention that you can easily write the number of important impacts over there. So I discuss loss of biodiversity. There is no doubt. Local forest ecosystem, wildlife corridors. Recently, number of areas are in news from the Chhattisgarh Hasdev forest area. This is the perfect example. So मेरे हिसाब से क्वेश्चन करंटली बन सकता है because it has a depth and it has a basic reasons. ठीक है. Next one, greenhouse gas emissions and cumulative impact. Now you can easily understand the last one. I am saying the cumulative impact means coal mining, thermal power plant, compounded environmental burden in the same region. So this is the ठीक है a situation of our man body. So now let's move towards the conclusion. So in the man body, I mentioned number of things in take a particular area and I highlighted the number of important words over there. I completely avoided the repetition of the words. I completely avoided the unnecessary things. I completely avoided the my self-generated knowledge over there. Getting my points? So आपको सिर्फ क्या करना है? You have to be careful and you have to use the current affair knowledge and academic things. Now you have to correlate to each other या integrate कर दीजिए उसको and now you have to apply over there. This is the basic fundamental ठीक है concept of the answer writing. Now you can easily understand these are the hardly 3.5 lines and let's find what is inside. Okay, while coal pit heads, thermal plants are cost effective due to reduced transport cost. They create intense local environmental pressure. In the first line, I mentioned ठीक है the importance of ठीक है pit head thermal power plants because पैसा बच रहा है due to transportation cost. But in second line, they create intense local environmental pressure. In the second line, I criticized and the proper EIA implementation, use of cleaner technologies and transition of renewable energy sources are essential to ensure that development does not come at the cost of irreversible ecological changes. So you can easily understand the second and third line I mentioned some important advices and suggestions और आपको क्या करना चाहिए. You have to be ठीक है you have to choose some kind of technologies and in the last one I ठीक है give some kind of challenge or threat over there. The development does not come at the cost of irreversible ecological damages. Getting my points? On the behalf of these all things, I concluded my conclusion over there, and this is the perfect conclusion to get the maximum marks over there. Now I have a special surprise for you for probable questions. These are the 5 questions which you have to attempt. Okay, getting my points? बहुत प्यारे question है and they have a different characteristics and they have a different nature. So I hope so and I will request आप इसको attempt कीजिए और attempt करने के बाद इसको आप ठीक है हमारी वेबसाइट पर या फिर लिंक पर आप इसको सबमिट भी करा सकते हैं. हम फिर इसके बाद में आपको अच्छे से डिटेल में बताएंगे इंप्रूवमेंट कहाँ करनी है. ठीक है विच एरियाज वी हैव टू इम्प्रूव एंड व्हाई. ठीक है एंड हाउ टू इम्प्रूव आवर स्किल्स ऑफ आंसर राइटिंग. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट्स? सो दिस इज इनफ फ्रॉम दिस साइड. सी यू सून with fresh topic. Take care.